Welcome to the Dalen Show. Hi, everybody. What's going on? I'm Dalen Flowers. He's Russ Eddins, and welcome to a very special episode number 9 of Cardinals Talk. I know it's been a little while since you've seen us. My apologies. School has been getting really hectic, but welcome back. We're excited to see you. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and comment as well. So let's dive into this. Russ, last episode was before the Tiger series, obviously losing that series, but the boys have been on a tear since then, winning the series against the Nationals, Red Sox. And did we beat the Guardians in that series?
Yeah, they lost
Yes.
Red Sox 2-3, beat
Okay,
the
my bad.
Guardians, swept the Stros. Now they lost game 1 to the Marlins last night.
Yes. So, welcome back through all that. Good to see you. I guess a few things to just kind of go over really quickly is those series. Cardinals are honestly, man, sitting really hot right now. I know it's 4th in the National League Central, but I don't know, man. This division early on, it's looking really competitive, and I like that honestly. Cardinals sitting 13-9. Just ended a 5-game win streak after losing last night to the Marlins 5-3. Jordan Walker continues to be on the tear, continuing to be one of the hottest players in baseball. Team's looking really decent. We'll get into pitching as well and what to do with the catcher situation. But my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing good. We just went through our big transition at the DM. People got their new jobs and everything. I stayed where I was, but that chaos is finally done, and there's only 2 more weeks of school and then finals. So we're about to summer break, and that's when baseball season will really begin for us, I suppose. That's when we can start focusing on the Cardinals. Although with the way Ole Miss baseball's been playing lately, we may be playing baseball for a little bit, but we'll see. I hope. I have a hope that we can do that.
Very true. It's fun times around Oxford, Mississippi over the last 2 weeks. You know what's funny about that? I almost mentally checked out after being swept against State, and I just was like, I've seen this pattern before. It's happened every year I've been here, but they've turned it around. A couple big series wins over the last 2 weeks, so we'll see what they do. It's time to now take things to the next level. Like, can you get to the postseason? Great, you did that last year, but now can you get back to Omaha, which is the goal? So we'll see. Man, I don't know about you, but I'm very excited about this baseball team. I don't know what it is. I don't know how they've gotten to this point. But I will say this really quickly too. I don't like that it's about to be May and we haven't played a single divisional team yet. I don't like that from a perspective of a fan, from a perspective of a player. So I did want to mention that and just hear your thoughts about that. But I guess, how do you feel about that really quickly before we dive into more things?
Yeah, it's really weird to me. I don't think very many teams have played their divisional opponent. I mean, the Dodgers obviously just for the Rockies, but I don't think the Cubs or any people in the Central have played other team, other Central teams. The first time we play a Central team is the Pirates. After the upcoming Seattle series, it's on the road. We have 2 more in Miami. We come back over Seattle and we go to Pittsburgh for 4-game set. So unless we get lucky, I think they're gonna take on Skenes there. And then they've got the Dodgers at home, then the Brewers, then 2 weeks later, the Pirates again. So we'll play 7 of our 13 games against the Pirates in the next month. And then, that begins a 12 straight games, actually, of the 10 opponents. It's 3 against the Pirates, 3 against the Reds, 3 against the Brewers, off day, 3 against Chicago. It's 12 straight games against division opponents. But our first one isn't for another 7 days. What's today's date? Yeah, it's for not for 6 more days.
Yeah, I don't. And it's funny you say that too, because you won't face your second divisional opponent until May, which is, like you said, the Brewers. I just think that's really crazy. I like looking on it. I think that's really. I don't even have the words for it. Like, I just think that's really wild to think about. And I hope that this is not something that happens anymore after this year for any team. Like, I think divisional teams should be at least like the 3rd team on schedules for teams that they're playing against after like the 3rd series, that you should start playing divisional teams. But just my opinion, just my thoughts. My friend, before I get into the team, 2 words, Jordan Walker. Just what are you thinking about him? which is funny because he was struggling badly in spring training. And again, it was a witness that it wasn't just this. This is a guy that he's always had pop in his bat, but he was, swinging and missing a lot throughout his career so far, doing the same thing in spring training. Just didn't seem to be having any confidence. It wasn't trusting his abilities at the plate. But since the regular season has started, I really don't know what's gotten into this guy, but I'm not complaining, and I hope it doesn't stop a 15-game on-base streak. What are you seeing out of him that's making him so far early this season an NL MVP candidate?
There's probably a lot of things that kind of got into this. You look at the Savant page. I think I showed it off to one of my friends last week. It's like blood red. The whole thing you just read. Yeah, like you said, he's been up to a hot start. Hasn't hit a homer in like 3 games. So, he's washed now, but maybe he'll reach that 20 number or something. If he goes for 20 homers, that would be a pretty great season. Obviously, he's already got the 8. So I think the expectation is for him to, go 25, 30.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest change for him, I think it's just a mentality. I really think it's something that he just kind of did himself. I think I like MLB Network a lot. I watch a lot of their content, and they're talking about how he's like changed his stance a little bit. Yeah, it's different. He's a little more closed now. I don't know if the bat path has changed at all, but I think the standards kind of changed for him a little bit. It's just like, he came to Cardinals as this organization that expects to win, and then he kind of felt that immediate pressure, and then he goes off and gets 11, 12, 13 games in a row or he gets 11, 12, hits in a row for games for hit streak to start his career, gets sit down, and then maybe it's a mental thing of, if that isn't even good enough for them, then how can I ever be good enough for them? And it just took some time, and then Bloom comes in and kind of says, okay, we're going to lower the expectations for a minute because it hasn't worked. So maybe it's just a kind of a thing of, okay, there's no pressure right now, and I can just kind of go out and ball out and not have to worry about getting sitting down. I think that kind of matters to some. Obviously, I haven't talked to him, but I think it's kind of matter. The expectations have changed a little bit.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but I will say it may be a little different in my way of thinking. I think there was more pressure on him this year than, honestly, I would say maybe ever before, in terms of he was so highly regarded coming out of the minors that I think fans, obviously not in a year one stance, because I don't think anyone can really just expect a guy in year one to just immensely come out the gates and be a superstar. But I think when people saw the overall talent this guy had, people were looking at the way that this team had to rebuild in the offseason and completely focus on rebuilding, that someone had to step up. And I think people really wanted it to be Jordan Walker because they knew the ability and talent was there. It was just putting it on a showcase. And yes, I do agree with you. Last year he got sitting down a few times, faced some injuries. And I hated his injury last year too, because right before he got injured, he was getting hot. He was doing really well right before he got injured. And then he kind of went out for a few months. And then when he came back, it just never pieced together. But I think there was more pressure on him this year because I would say there's not many guys, like obviously the hype around JJ is there, but like other than like Burley, I don't think there you could really say there was that guy, like especially from a batting standpoint. And I think fans really expected him to step up in that matter, especially when there were so many moving pieces and young guys now that he kind of, I won't say has to become the veteran, but he's been kind of the guy that's been here for a few more years than most players, and he's kind of going to be the leader in that locker room. And so I think he had a little bit more pressure in that sense, but I also do agree with you. But nonetheless, he is looking a lot more polished at the plate. His batting stance is looking more comfortable for him. But I think I told you this last week, obviously not on camera, but like, it doesn't even look like he's trying sometimes. Like sometimes when he swings or when he gets a home run, I swear he's like, he's only giving like 50%. I think if there's another level, just from that standpoint of me feeling like that and looking at him, it may not be true, obviously, but like if there's another level to this, then the ceiling for this guy is definitely something else that can be talked about for the future for this team.
Yeah, I definitely, I see you're coming from about, the more pressure. At the same time, though, who would have replaced him?
True.
If he doesn't do well, what are they going to do? Trade him?
True.
Who's going to want him? I think he, in some sense, it's just like I'm at rock bottom almost. Not rock bottom. He's in the major freaking leagues. He's making $750 a year. Like if he doesn't perform well, sure, he may be done, but at the same time, who's going to replace him?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Lars Nootbaar, who we haven't seen in
all season? I don't believe.
I don't really know what's going on with him. I've been not checked out, but like I don't know what's going on with Lars Nootbaar. I've heard nothing about Lars, and I haven't Googled it, so that's just on me. And I can't right now, or my computer will crash. Yeah, it's kind of like I think they had a conversation. It was kind of like, yeah, there's no one here. It's just you. No help is coming. This is it. If anything, we're going to trade more pieces away. But obviously, his trade value isn't. I mean, now it's a little different. It's a different conversation. I don't think you trade him. Obviously, that'd be stupid. But I kind of think he's just the guy. He's our right fielder for 150 games, and then the other 12, you probably got the rest of them because I don't know if he's ever had that large of a workload before.
Yeah. Really quick, Nootbaar is out from injury after surgery last October. No timetable on his return. Says maybe a month or more out still. So we'll see. I don't even know where he would fit in though at this point. I
guess you'd have to send down Church, right? Put him in left field. That's really about it. And Church hasn't been hitting super great.
I think I'm more oblivious of him as a defender. He's been really good in the outfield defensively for the team. So I'm not, and he's still young. It's a hard conversation, man. I don't know. I love Newt obviously, but I'm not like, I think a lot of the fan base is becoming a little bit more oblivious with Nathan Church out there in terms of a batting standpoint. I'm okay with him right now. I think I'm content with him. Like I'm not rushing anything. I think he just needs to get a little bit more comfortable and see more game time out there, and I think he will be fine down the long run. But we will see what he does moving forward. Also, really quickly, before I forgot to say this, but happy NBA playoffs and NHL playoff seasons to all that celebrate. It's a fun time right now. I'm sorry for Blues fans that may not be able to experience that this year. I apologize, but I just had to mention that really quick. Let's dive into this rotation, man. I'm happy. I'm not happy with the bullpen. Let me make that very clear. But I'm happy with the rotation. May is looking really good. Riley O'Brien is progressing, and I'm confident in him to continue getting better. But he honestly hasn't looked that bad. I think he leads the teams in wins, if I'm not mistaken. And he's looked really confident throughout games. I just think when, his arm gets a little tired, he starts going a little crazy. But other than that, I like O'Brien. McGreevy's looking strong. Libby's looking strong. And Leahy hasn't looked horrible. He obviously has a lot of things to clean up, but he hasn't looked horrible either to me. How do you feel about this starting rotation so far? And I guess what can you see that needs to take improvement to get this team to the next level? Because I asked that because of the bullpen being so bad, but we'll get to that after this.
Yeah, I think you mentioned the bullpen, obviously. O'Brien and Graceffo. I don't know how many innings Graceffo has, but his ERA is a sub-1 right now. And just looking at my phone, the past couple of games and whatnot, Palante's got a 4 ERA.
Yeah.
May's at a 6, but that's because the first 2 starts were pretty bad. That'll come back down. That'll average out. I'm sure the FIP for all these guys is around the same, honestly. So kind of it's pretty consistent, if I had to guess. And then Leahy, like I said, he's at a 5.21. And then McGreevy, he had the 4 earned last night. That was probably his worst start.
Yeah, it was rough.
Probably worst start. But his ERA still is a 3.29. It's still not bad. Like you can live with that. And then Liberatore is at a 3.6. So I think you'll probably take that, honestly. And they are giving up a few too many runs. The run differential is still in the negatives, but it's come back down. It's kind of like being cut in half with the series win over the Astros. And the Astros, well, they suck. But it's still nice to see that. I think it's been a surprise, honestly. Liberatore, finally, that trade from like 10 years ago now is starting to kind of work out. It took a really long time. It's worked a little bit. McGreevy's fun to watch. Probably my favorite pitcher of the staff. I think I remember watching him. Although the games were blacked out, so I just watched highlights of him and then listened to the radio because we're in Oxford and we can't watch Cardinal games. Or I can with the TV and whatnot. And then, like you said, the rest of them, Palante, Leahy, May. I think May's coming around a little bit. He had a really good outing last week. He goes today, I think. He's coming around a little bit. Leahy, I think next year, if this year goes well and, we play our cards right, Leahy's probably the first one to go back to the pen, if I had to guess. I think Leahy would be better in a bullpen role. But right now, I don't think there's a real reason not to let him start, just because Graceffo hasn't panned out as a starter at all. So I think it's kind of him to go to more a relief role. And then you got Liam Doyle, you got a couple other prospects whose name I forgot because there's like 4 or 5 of them now. Liam Doyle's first one comes to mind. I think he'll be here in like a year and a half, 2 years maybe, kind of like a Paul Skenes situation, hopefully. Although that would be like his absolute ceiling. I say that. There's a couple other guys down there that Quinn Matthews. He got drafted last year. A couple guys down there that I think can come up at the end of the season, but I think right now the 5 we have, that's what it is. It's not changing for a bit. I think so. I think we have to be happy with what we have right now, and it's not bad at all, really. I mean, it could be like a Rocky situation where all of them just have like a 5 ERA period. So I think there's some room to go for sure, but I'm not upset with these 5 guys.
Let me make myself clear. Justin Brule and Matt Savanson. I don't know what you guys have going on, but if you see this, I know you won't, but I hope you do. If you see this, listen to me very clearly, okay? I had 0 expectations of this team before this season started. Zero. I didn't think we were barely, if anything, we're going to touch 80 wins this year. I didn't think that this offense was going to be as productive as it has been. I didn't think the crowd and fan reaction that it has been so far was going to be as good as it has been. But let me tell you something, okay? Justin Brule, Matt Savanson, you hear me? You need to find that switch in your head right now, and you just need to flip it on. I'm not asking you to be perfect. You're never going to be perfect. But let me make something clear to you, Matt Savanson. A 12 ERA. Justin Brule, you're kidding me? A 6.75 ERA? Guys, listen, this team, what I love the most about this team, and I said this when we first came back before the season started, my word of the year for this team is compete. They've competed. This team has competed. They fought. Even when games look to be over, they've come back and they fought and they've won games. Even when they didn't win the games, they come back and they still made things interesting. There is no competition in the bullpen right now other than JoJo Romero. There is no competing. There is no fight. There is no passion. There is no love, and it has to change. And it's time for Oliver Marmol to step up and put on his big boy shoes and have a big boy conversation with these guys. It's time. I get we're supposed to be rebuilding. We're not even supposed to be in this position. This shouldn't even matter, but we are. And this division is obviously going to be very competitive. It's a division that I don't want to jump too far on the gun, but it looks like it can be won by anybody at this point of the season. So, bullpen, I beg you, for my saving grace, for my heart, for my health, my long-term health, please figure it out.
You mentioned that 12 ERA, by the way. That's after he did not allow a run in 4 outs last
Exactly.
night. So it was low. Yesterday it was like a 13. It got lowered to 12 yesterday. So what I'm seeing is Swanson, he's going to be at a 5 by next week. Basically.
I hope so. Because Graceffo, I like you. Soriano, you're not horrible, but you're not good either.
It's got a fun name.
Yeah, that's about it. So, I mean, there are other guys I don't want to see, a.k.a. Chris Roycroft. Don't put him back ever again on the mound. I don't want to see it.
Stanek,
I don't. Yeah, Stanek either. Let me not forget about Stanek. It's like I'm trying to not overreact, But again, I get it. We're in this rebuilding phase, but from an offensive standpoint, we've been producing. This is a team that, I mean, bro, if you want to look back at our schedule this year, last night I wasn't overly thrilled with the offensive performance, but I thought the Marlins just played a great game, and I'm not overly mad at that loss, even though it's the Marlins and, 5 runs is unacceptable. But I look back, and other than the Red Sox games, and I think the second game against Detroit, all of these games have been winnable for the Cardinals. All of these games could say, other than those 3, in the other 2 that we lost, those 2 games you could have said this team should have won, and it was solely because of pitching that didn't allow it. And, I mean, even the Tigers game, they lost 11-6. One of the Red Sox games, they got beat bad, especially in like the 8th inning. I think the Red Sox scored like 7 runs in the 8th inning. One of those games, It was bad, and it's just like from a player personnel standpoint, I know it becomes mentally and physically exhausting when you're going out there and doing everything that you can from an offensive standpoint, and you're not getting any help at all from your bullpen, and even from that starting pitching rotation. Like, there have been games that McGreevy has come out, and I'm like, he's played really good or he's played decently, and now he has to come out in like the 6th or 7th inning, and I'm like, oh, this game's gone. And if it's not JoJo, I have no confidence in anyone, winning the game. There have been spells in different games that I've watched guys like Stan. I mean, honestly, Stanek has had decent moments so far this year where he's really come in clutch, but like consistently, it's just not there yet. And I'm not going to lose my mind yet. It's still only April, but come June, and we're talking, and these same problems are still happening, then I'm going to be losing my mind.
What can they do to fix it, though? I mean,
that's the problem. I don't know if there is a fix. Like, other than, like I said, a big boy conversation from Ollie, but like obviously that can only go so far. But like other than that, I genuinely don't know, man. And that's what's like the frustrating part about it is.
I don't know if they've drafted anyone that's like
they haven't.
Lights out in the pen. I think it's all starters, really, and those starters are too young to turn them into bullpen arms right now. You don't want to limit their capabilities, especially when like Liam Doyle. That's the ace of the future, hopefully, right? You're definitely not going to demote him or I won't say demote. It's still like really important position. You're not going to move into the pen, year one. You're not going to move a Quinn Matthews yet. There are a couple of guys. I mean, I'm sure. I wonder how a reliever from the minor leagues who has like a 3 or 4 ERA will translate to MLB. And at what point you kind of start moving some guys around. Because last year, I feel like in the past couple of years, the bullpen early on has gotten so taxed. Yeah. And they've had to make some big moves. Like they've had to move guys up, like back and forth. And I don't have any evidence. This is kind of off the dome from what I remember. I feel like they've been so taxed. And they've had to take guys off the freaking taxi squad or something and throw them in the pros and then kind of swap guys out and keep doing that for a while because the starters just weren't getting it done. But now the starters are kind of, they're obviously the ERA is probably like bottom 10 in the MLB, honestly. Let's be real here. It's probably not that high. But they've been pitching, decently deep into games. Like even last night, McGreevy, he pitched into the 6th inning last night.
Yeah, he has to. What you want to see.
Yeah. So I really feel like despite the bullpen being bad, there hasn't been any big roster moves, has there? I mean, I feel like I watch MLB Network a lot. They have like the graphic on the bottom of the screen. It's like Cardinals make roster moves or something. I haven't seen that graphic yet. I haven't seen the Cardinals, move pieces around too much. Maybe they have, but I feel like this year there hasn't been a lot of movement with those bullpen guys yet. So obviously only a month in the season, but I feel like that kind of shows they're not overly taxed just yet, which is important, I think.
I love that point because it's important to also realize that, like you said, it's early, and I don't know how much of a market value those guys in the bullpen even have, and what you will be able to get back for them. I think this team made so many moves this offseason, they kind of had to roll the dice a little bit and knew that everything wasn't going to work out in their favor in some aspects, and the bullpen just had to be that kind of sacrifice, I guess. And I guess you kind of got to take a cream of a crop and just be happy with certain things and I guess be content with other things. So like, again, I said, it's still April. I'm going to relax, but I just have to get that off my chest because it's just been so annoying that even again, that Red Sox series could have been won. The Tiger series could have been won, but the bullpen came in and just, they threw it all in the trash. And so it just, from a fan perspective and someone that has a deep love for this team, it's become frustrating because I'm seeing so many of our young guys, so many of our leaders produce in big moments from a starting rotation standpoint and from an offensive standpoint, and it's not being, I would say, favored from the bullpen. So that's what I mean by that. Like again, I don't think this team is going to make the World Series. I don't think I'm in a mixed emotions of whether or not this team can make the playoffs right now. It's still early, so I really won't say on that yet. But this team is competitive, and they've got a lot of heart, and they're fighting. And I'll say as well, everyone's just seems like a big family vibe too. Like everyone's, rallying around each other, celebrating each other when everyone's doing good things. Or even when things don't go well, you're noticing guys just making sure that they know that their teammates, that they're not alone and that they're here for them, and you'll be all right the next at bat, whatever it is. So I'm going to calm down, but there are things that need to be talked about in that situation. But nonetheless, don't hear me saying this and I sound ungrateful. I am beyond pleased that this team is doing as well that they have been doing so far. Just came off a 5-game win streak. I get it. It was Houston. So I don't care. We're not supposed to be good either. And we could, if we lost, if we got swept, then it would have been a different conversation. Like we could have lost those games. So like, I don't care if it was Houston, like they're still MLB players. They're still in the majors. That was a team that easily could have taken a game or two off us too, but they didn't. So I'm going to give my flowers to my players because they went out there and they did that and they've looked really well this year. So I'm going to hush.
Yeah. And you went to playoffs. They're 13-9 right now, and they're not in the playoff picture. They're third in the NL Central, tied with the Pirates and Cubs, who are also 13-9. The whole division's above 500. I think only 4 teams in the AL are above 500. 5 in the NL Central are. So AL sucks, by the way. And the only real division in baseball right now is the NL Central, I guess. So obviously that's not is all 5 teams probably aren't going to end the year 500. I don't know the math on that. But when you play each other 13 times each, that would be really, really difficult. I guess it's possible, but obviously it's like probably not going to happen. But at the same time, all these teams kind of are somewhat legit, I think. The Pirates, they spent some money in the offseason. They're like the highest ranked team in power rankings pretty much across the board from the NL Central. The Cardinals, by the way, aren't even on those power rankings. All 4 teams in the division are ranked higher than the Cardinals on all of those, despite the Cardinals, consistently being, they haven't been, I don't think they've been under 500 all year. I mean, obviously their own differential isn't what you want it to be, and that's because of a couple of losses to the Red Sox, honestly, a couple of bad losses there. But it's hard because they've only lost 2 series, and they're not in the playoff picture yet. So they just gotta kind of keep going out there and winning series. Taking 2 out of 3. You get the occasional sweep. I think you put yourself back in that conversation. But as of today, it's a big hill to climb. I mean, they're like a game and a half, 2 games out, really, or half a game out. But that feels pretty steep when the whole division is playing as well as they are right now.
Yeah, I honestly love it. I think again, and I know how I said earlier, I don't like that we haven't played a divisional team yet, but the fact that we have to wait this long and the fact that the division is this competitive right now, I love it. I think it's going to make these divisional rivalry games a little bit more heated. I think, players are going to want to shine more and step up more, and they're going to give it their all. So I love it. I think when we go to Pittsburgh, it's going to be game on, especially when, they face Paul Skenes, it's going to be game on. So I love it. I really do, because like, Brewers are at the bottom of the division and they're above 500, and Cincinnati's looking really good, although I don't know how long I'm going to buy them from an offensive standpoint. Same thing with Pittsburgh. And I wish nothing but the worst for Cubs fans, so I'm not going to buy on them either. But I love it. I think that this is going to be a competitive summer because we're going to face all these teams over the next 2 or 3 months anyway. So I hope it stays like this. Like, I really do. I think from a standpoint of the last 4 or 5 years, bro, we've always been the laughing stock in terms of a division. Everyone looks at us as like the little brothers, and we haven't really had any respect in a long time, which is crazy to think about. But I love it, and if it can stay like this, I'm excited because you look at all the teams. Maybe barring the Brewers, but like a lot of these teams are led by a lot of young guys. Like most of these rosters are filled with young guys, which I love as well, based on us as well. So I love it because hopefully from a futuristic standpoint this year, of course, but also in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, this division stays competitive because so many of these teams in the division are filled with a lot of young players.
Yeah, and they've all drafted well. I think the Pirates obviously have been the worst team in baseball for not the worst team, but one of the worst teams, and it's kind of started to pan out. I mean, obviously getting Paul Skenes was like the best thing they've done ever. But, it's really kind of good to see the Pirates as good as they are. I mean, the last time I was like, oh, my God, the Pirates are coming to town was, 2013 or 14 when they
prime
playoffs? Yeah. I think that was the last time they were good. So it's kind of, I mean, obviously they have a great ballpark. The fan, I don't know the fan base because they don't show up because they suck. But I'm sure the fan base will show up, for the series. Look forward to those games. Those are fun now. This rivalry between the Pirates and Cardinals that the Cardinals have kind of dominated in recent years, I think, it's going to mean something, which is really cool. And the Cubs for a long time didn't mean anything, and they've been better the past 10 years or so, and it's good to see them. I think the Cubs probably have a better record against Cardinals the past 10 years, but it's kind of good for that to continue to mean something after so long ago, it didn't mean much, and now it continues to be good and one of the better rivals in the sport. And the Brewers, obviously they've been good for a long time. The Reds have been that team that the Reds are funny. The Reds have been the kind of team that everyone they just can't wait for them to figure it out. Like this is the year of the Reds, and then they never do, or they fall off in July. So I kind of hope that all 5 teams are able to keep it going a little bit. They've all got good momentum. And if they're all, fighting, it's kind of like an arms race. Who's going to, we're going to be like game watch or schedule watching all summer pretty much. And, I think it could be a lot of fun. As long as this division just stays competitive, I think that's a big storyline in itself is just, can they stay 500? I think is pretty cool. So you're right about the little brother thing. They've been a really great division for a long time, honestly. This is not abnormal. All 5 teams have been pretty competitive. Even when the Cardinals last year, even though they weren't great, there were times when they were, doing pretty good. And so it's nice to finally see us get some national recognition, I guess, because no one's really noticed this before, but it's not out of the ordinary per se.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Really quick before we get out of here, rest of the Marlins series, Seattle, and then Pittsburgh. How do you think we fare in these next 3 series?
May's going tonight. I look to see him just play well. Honestly, they're going to score. If he runs, I was only 3 last night. They're going to score. Look forward to see what May does, and I think Leahy will go tomorrow.
Yeah, he will.
Leahy will go tomorrow. I just want to see Walker hit a home run. I just want to see him just stay hot really, and take the next couple of games here. I think it's a lot of fun there. And the Mariners, Donovan's on the IL right now. We're not going to see Donnie. Maybe he'll come out of the dugout from them for standing ovation or whatever. That's going to be a good series though. A little interleague game that honestly, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really mean much because it's interleague baseball. But off the record, it still matters just as much as anything. It's a home series, so I think that'd be nice just to come back home for 3 games after spending I think it's 6 games on the road, a couple weeks on the road. Kind of a get right series, focus on some things, and prep up for Pittsburgh. Get 4 games on the road against Pittsburgh, so I think that'll be a great series. I think that series may be. I'll just quickly. When is that series for us? That series is the 27th, so that's next week. Our last week of school, so we'll have to find some time to watch that one, but yeah, that'll be a ton of fun. I think that'll be great. The 4-game series is kind of weird because you can split the series.
Yeah.
But I think just trying to stay 500 against your opponents there and your divisional opponents would be great. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun week for Cardinals. I think if they can just keep going a little bit. If Walker goes, team goes, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. This team is kind of just fed off the success of Jordan Walker. Hopefully it continues. I think, I mean, every game is important, obviously, but I think finishing this Marlins series on a strong note is going to be really important, especially going into the Mariners series. I know we're not going to beat the Mariners, even with or without Donnie, I believe, but I just want to see how competitive we can be against a team like Seattle that if I'm not mistaken, I predicted them to go and win the World Series this year. I believe so. So I'm just excited to see how we do and fare against them from an overall Arsenal aspect in terms of offense, defense, pitching, bullpen, and game managing situations as well. So I'm excited to see that. And then obviously Pittsburgh, I hope they continue doing well until we get to them as well. Like I want it to be like a really good marquee matchup, honestly. If I get two divisional teams that hopefully at that time could be like competing for first place, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, obviously, I want my guy Nolan Gorman to find a little bit more consistency. Had a big home run against Houston, but I just don't know about him, man. Like he's not doing horrible, but like obviously he needs to start seeing his breaking ball better, and he just needs to start attacking his breaking balls better. And I think when he starts doing that, then guys have to respect that, and then they're going to start throwing him more fastballs. And when he gets on top of the fastballs, it's lights out. But when he starts, recognizing and getting on top of those breaking balls a little bit better, he'll be fine. Hopefully, that comes quicker rather than later. It's time, not yet, but in over the next 3 or 4 weeks, man, you're really going to be able to know who's going to be the guys in June and July. And it's time now to start finding your groove and confidence, because those are like the dark days, the biggest months of the year for teams. And so I really just hope over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to be watching closely, Nolan. I hope you start figuring out, my friend, because I need you and I love you, brother. But my friend, good to see you as always. We appreciate you guys for tuning in to episode number 9 of Cardinals Talk. We will see you guys hopefully next week. If not, next week, the week after. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, like I said earlier, make sure you subscribe, leave a like and comment. The player you're most excited about watching for the rest of the season from the Cardinals, what maybe your overall season prediction is, and who do you think are going to be the 2 teams that will match up in the World Series and who will win? So appreciate you guys tuning in, man. See you guys soon. Thank you.